Process flows are a model we use early in a project to understand the highest level of business process. They are sometimes called flowcharts, cross-functional process flows, and swim lane diagrams. Process flows will be created at multiple levels. At the top, we have L1 process flows, which are usually 5 to 10 boxes at most with very broad categories in a basic flow. In something like an online storefront, the boxes may be something like catalog, cart, bill, ship, order, and confirmation. And then L2 is the level that looks like this example, where we get into what the actual steps are. Each box in an L1 probably has one or more L2 process flows that really get into the details of the steps within the process. In a process flow, there are only a few basic symbols that we care about. First of all, you may have your start and end ovals, but you could actually just not use those shapes if it's obvious where the start and the end are. Boxes represent steps in the process. Diamonds represent decisions which cause the flow to branch based on the condition. And the lines with the arrows show the direction of the flows. Each line out of a decision diagram needs to be labeled with the path it represents. Those may be simple yes or no labels, but sometimes a diamond may have 5 different paths coming out of it, so it's important that they are clearly labeled to know which way to follow. In addition, you can have swim lanes to represent either groups of people or systems. By using swim lanes, you are indicating by whom or in which system the step occurs, thereby simplifying the text that you have to put in the step boxes. When creating process flows, we have some best practices we try to follow. In every box, we like to have a subject and verb phrasing. If you're using systems in your swim lanes, the subject should be the user that performs the step. If your swim lanes are user groups, then the subject in your box needs to be the system the step is occurring in. Also, when using swim lanes, don't mix your paradigms for what the swim lanes represent. So they can either be systems, and then the user must be specified in the boxes, or the swim lanes can be users, and then the boxes say which systems do the activities. This is important because it's very confusing for the audience if you mix the systems and users in these lanes. So for example, we may have a system in our swim lane such as a retail website, and another one that's a CRM system, and so on. Our step boxes then would be something like customer configures vehicle. That would show up in the website swim lane, where the subject here is the user, the customer, since the system is captured in the system swim lane. If you find yourself creating a process with a lot of decision diamonds on it, then you should not put this in a process flow and instead break out that small section into a decision tree, which we'll cover later. In this process flow, we are mapping out the process flow for ordering a car from an online storefront. Let's look at an example. We start the flow when a customer configures a vehicle on the retail website. Still on the website, they select a dealer and request a quote on the car. Once the customer has done their part online, then the dealer receives the quote, prices it, and calls the customer with a quote. You can see that all of those steps happen in the CRM system. This then leads us to recognize that there are some stories we like to write, such as customer requests quote for car online. And the detailed requirements and rules may fall out of this. By looking at the first square on the process flow, I can already guess that there are a lot of configuration business rules that I have to elicit about what is allowed or not allowed in a car setup. Process flows should be used in any project where your business is executing lots of processes around the system. The process flow is a great tool to understand the existing process. In addition, you can use the existing current state process flows in combination with some knowledge of the new system to create your to-be process flows. Process flows are also really nice for setting high-level context on a project. They are easy to read and give a good breadth view of the system, and they are particularly easy to read without any training. Process flows are also a fantastic tool to get to the detailed requirements. They help us make sure that we aren't missing any major activities in the form of steps and user stories. Each step in a process flow should be evaluated to see if that's an actual use case or user story that needs to be written. Detailed requirements and business rules should fall right out of those process flow steps, and decision points in a process flow are typically indication that you have some business rules.